Hello. So today I want to talk about identity and more importantly, why it is so important to not let your identity dictate your beliefs. So my name is Peggy van de Plassche. You can find tons of stuff on me on the web, Peggy van de Plassche. So I find it super, super important right now to talk about that topic. I see more and more the link between what is one person's identity and what are their beliefs in politics, leadership, life, and all of that. So, I've often asked why I don't run for public office. And I mean, it's very flattering as a question, obviously, but the very, very honest answer. It's not that I'm not interested in public service. It's more that I really struggle with that expectations of following the party line. And that's what happens with political affiliation is that, especially today, I think it's always been the case, but it's really becoming even more apparent today. It really feels like you're subscribing to a bundled package. So, and it's a package that doesn't let you swap the part that you're not interested in, or the part that you don't agree with, the part that don't work out for you. So you buy into one position and suddenly you're expected to take a stand on 10 others, even if some don't see it right. And, personally, I like better a tasting menu where I can pick and choose, and that doesn't work with a party aligning with a party, especially I would say in countries maybe like the US, Canada to a certain degree, where you only have two choices and you pick one or you pick another, and you have the whole program, whether you only like 10%, 50%, 90%, doesn't matter. You need to agree with everything. And again, some parties have compelling ideas on some issues. Others have better solutions elsewhere. So personally, my brain, and I'm pretty sure your brain, doesn't work in binaries. And the world is not either working that way. It is not black and white. I know we like to think in a very short sentence and something very simple, but the world is very complex. So that's why personally I've always worked better in environments that value independent thinking over allegiance. And that's the thing you see in large organizations, that sometimes the expectation is that, well, whatever you both say, you need to agree, or whatever your organization says, you need to agree. And I don't think that's the right approach. I don't think a groupthink or brainwashing is the right approach for us. So personally, as a leader, I like to surrender myself with people who don't always agree with me. And I understand that it doesn't have to be me as a person, but it's one of my ideas or several of my ideas that they don't like. And we can agree to disagree. This is not a personal attack. And that's why I think I've never been able to be a yes woman. And that definitely hurt my career, I can tell you that. But, just being told jump and jumping, trust me, I've seen people having like extremely, extremely successful career with that strategy. But what is the point? I remember one of my earliest mentor, and if you're listening to it, Jean-François Alain, thank you again. He was my boss at CGI, and he told me something that still stayed with me, and it's been 2 decades. It's like, if an employee always has the same opinion as their boss, one of them is redundant, and it is not the boss. And again, the point is not to disagree with people, which is not very valuable, but you need to have your own independent thinking. And, I've spent a lot of time in innovation, if you know a bit about me, and innovation needs friction. And that's really the ethos that shaped my entire professional life, and it's one of the reasons I'm so passionate about innovation, because it doesn't emerge from consensus. It comes from friction. Friction doesn't mean aggressivity. Friction doesn't mean attacking someone. Friction might just come from this idea that, well, I think we can do things better. I think we can do things differently. That is friction. that is not attacking people. Attacking people is not friction. It's just attacking people. So that's the thing we also need to understand. Yeah, I'm not talking about this, you screaming, the other person screaming, and great, it's going to create innovation. Absolutely not. But it's this idea that, okay, this is a situation that has existed for a long time. Maybe there is another way to do it. Let's do it. So it's really about diversity of thoughts and respectfully challenging assumptions. And sometimes it means disagreeing, but you know what? Respectfully disagreeing. I think when you have clashes between people, it's because the respect is not here, you know, like you can definitely have a conversation. You should be able to have a conversation with someone, exposing your ideas without jumping to each other jugular, which is not really what we're saying right now. But so there was an article, I really, really like this writer, this journalist of Financial Times, Janan Ganesh, and he wrote a piece on Denmark. And his reflection was really about Danish politics and the fact that the country doesn't neatly fit into these left-right categories, because Denmark is liberal and capitalist. It is pro-welfare and pro-market. It is compassionate, but it is pragmatic. It doesn't bundle its belief. It really thinks issue by issue. And I think that is very important, because very often when you have, you know, the color of your team, the color of your jersey, well, suddenly you align with the taxes, you align with everything. You can agree with the liberal on welfare and with the conservative on taxes. You know, like there is a lot of permutation here. Thankfully, you know, I was reading an article this morning on Financial Times, I believe, actually, on MAGA voters who are having a bit of rude awakening, because they're realizing that the government programs they've been benefiting from will be cut. And I'm like, interesting. So you didn't realize that by voting for something that want to cut governments, your government program will not be cut. So first, it's a bit of a lack of foresight. But these are people who probably voted for Trump for, I don't know, maybe immigration, maybe I don't know what. And now they're stuck in something that might have been more important for them, you know, because reproductive right, it was about a lady who was giving birth and couldn't afford, you know, like the maternity and giving birth in proper conditions. And that's the thing that happens when you bundle issues. And that's unfortunately what you see a lot with bills that put a very popular issue, something that, you know, no one can really say no to. And they pass on things underneath that they know will be more contentious. So it is something that is very, very dangerous. So when you think again about this very refreshing approach of the Danish approach, you know, like this case by case thinking, it might sound slow, it might sound inconvenient, but I mean, in many ways, it's the mark of a mature democracy. You know, like we tend to see complexity as something wrong, but only a 5-year-old child think that complexity is wrong. You know, an adult who's capable of independent thinking understand that complex topics require complex discussions and complex solutions. And it requires an independent mind. So, you know, you can contrast again this approach that you see in Denmark, this Danish approach about one by one, case by case mindset, with what we see here in North America, which is what this author Ganesh calls the vibes theory of politics. You know, you choose your tribe and you inherit the whole belief package. And I mean, if you know someone's stance on Gaza, you probably know their views on climate, lockdowns, DEI, and half a dozen unrelated topics, not because they thought each topics through, but because it comes with a jersey. And that is so freaking dangerous. So again, tribalism is not clarity. And, you know, like in this age of hyper alignment, nuance is often mistaken for inconsistency, or worse, disloyalty. And we see that a lot in the US, where if you don't like align with everything the boss is saying, you're out and maybe there's going to be a witch hunt after you as well. But, as Ganesh writes, the real tragedy is that like this tribalism really masquerades as clarity. Well, actually, it's just like, again, the stupidity of efficiency. Like all this arc and efficiency and all of that. It really like the cost of critical thinking. Like if you believe that it's better to be efficient than having critical thinking, well, obviously you're going to make a lot of freaking wrong decisions. They're going to be fast, but they're going to be wrong. And you're not going to take into consideration a lot of very important data. And this is a matter that goes beyond politics. It's just as relevant into organizations, on boards, leadership teams. Like groupthink isn't just intellectually lazy, it is dangerous. And, in high stakes environment, it really leads to blind spots, risk, missed opportunities. So that's really something we need to consider before aligning with everything. I had this experience actually last weekend. We were speaking with friends, and we came to talk about travel, and we're talking about a country that is a beautiful country, but that is not super safe. And just saying that it's not super safe, so suddenly you're going from a liberal person to a raging conservative, because if you're liberal, it is supposed to be, oh my God, everything is great and nothing is dangerous. Well, guess not what? It's a country with a super high crime rate. I'm sure the people are lovely, and I'm sure the landscape is lovely. And I tend to be more liberal in my thinking, but no, I would not go there. Doesn't mean I go on vacation to Florida, but I'm sorry, I'm not going to say, oh, it's so cool, it's so great, because it's what people expect of me. And it is like this bundle. And the worst thing is that you hear people saying things they don't even believe, because that's what they think is expecting of them. And that, again, very, very dangerous. So I think we need more courage to disagree. We don't need more consensus. We need more courage, the kind that allows people to say, I agree with you on this, but I don't agree with you on that. And to still remain part of a conversation. It is not about being a contrarian. It's integrity. And at the same time, it makes people think as well, which I think is pretty good. So maybe, just maybe the real leadership we need isn't about finding the right tribe. It's about having the right spine and really standing up for what we think makes sense, which doesn't mean the freaking bundle coming with your team and your tribe. And I know it is difficult because very often we don't even know what are our opinions, because we took the whole package. So, like use as much as you can, gather your information from multiple sources, take that, align it with your experience, align it with your values, and you're going to have your own independent thinking. And I can tell you, it is very unlikely that it will be 100% aligned with the organization you work with your family, with your political belief. And that is great, because that's what brings value. That's why you're unique. That's your voice as well. So thank you so, so much for listening. Again, my name is Peggy van der Plassche, and I'd love to hear your comments and your thoughts on this super important topic of independent thinking and not letting your identity dictate your beliefs. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful day.